Jam-packed preseason slate on Saturday. 8 games on the schedule. Bills and Broncos clashing in Buffalo. Josh Allen expected to start. Russell Wilson unlikely to play. Hard Knock Lions visit the Colts. Hard Knocks participants are 21-32 against the spread in the preseason since the show was rebooted in 2007. Saturday night, the Lions are 3-point favorites against the Colts. Matt Ryan will not play for Indy as you take a look at the full slate. And with that, we welcome in the Wizard of Odds, Kenny White, and Sportsline analyst Emory Hunt, the former Louisiana running back, on board here. Starting Western New York, Josh Allen, the Bills, hosting Josh Johnson, and the Broncos, Russell Wilson, unlikely to play. Buffalo's a 6.5-point favorite. Total's 42. Kenny, tough to lay 6.5 with a team in the preseason. So what's your play in this game?
Yeah, it really is. In a game we've talked about before that they're meaningless games. It really doesn't matter who wins these. These are trying to prepare and get ready for the season. But I'm not interested in the underdog here. I like the total. I went over 42. I like what I saw to the Buffalo offense last week. They were attacking up and down the field, and that was Case Keenum and Matt Barkley. So I like that rotation. I also was on Denver last week. I said Nathaniel Hackett, as a first-year head coach, he would want to win. And he's got a good quarterback in Josh Johnson, who led a couple of nice touchdown drives. We didn't get a lot out of Brett Rypien. I think you get a little bit more out of him in this game, so I'm going to go over 42.
You know, I like where your head's at, Kenny, because I feel like this will be the most exciting preseason game of the weekend because of what we saw last weekend. We saw an inspired game from Denver, an inspired, explosive game from Buffalo. Better quarterback play. I think Buffalo loses that game. They'll get better quarterback play here with Josh Johnson. And keep an eye out for Montreal Washington. Tremendous wide receiver, rookie wide receiver out of Sanford. You go back and watch his game versus Florida. He was giving Kaiir Elam the business. Guess who he faces in this ball game? Kaiir Elam once again. I do like the Broncos on the money line. I think their roster is a little bit deeper in terms of explosive talent on the perimeter.
All right, we got Lions and Colts. Lions have lost 4 straight preseason games. They lost as favorites as home to the Falcons. That was in week 1. Now they're favored on the road in Indy. Excuse me, probably because Matt Ryan isn't playing for the Colts. Kenny, I'm coming to you. Pardon me. Can you make some dollars and cents out of this?
Russ, yes, grab a drink, grab some water. I'll try to buy some time here. Well, Emory's going to go too, so we'll be fine. We'll get back to you. I'm going to go with the Colts. I took the 3 here with this team. Again, I think, pound for pound, there's a far better football team. And where I do like the Detroit Lions is their offensive line. I have them the 7th best offensive line, the 17th best offense, and that's because of that offensive line. But it's the defense that really shies me away from this team. I have them dead last, the worst defense in the NFL when we start the year. Frank Reich is 7-5 straight up as a head coach. He does do a great job of talent evaluating, and he brings in a solid second string. So I think they're going to be good from top to bottom. Foles will give us some time. Erlinger will give us some time. Again, the far better defense, the far better team getting points here. I'll take the Colts.
I'm going to go on the other side, Kenny. I'm going to go with the Lions. What I love about this matchup, you're going to see the best offensive line in the AFC South, some may say in the NFL, in the Indianapolis Colts. And you look at the best offensive line in the NFC North, that belongs to the Detroit Lions. And on defense, they have an improving defensive line. The Colts have an improving front 7, but I like the depth for Detroit. 2 guys named James will have an impact. Tight end James Mitchell, the rookie out of Virginia Tech, who's a great catch and run type option. Should pair up nicely with Hawkinson once the regular season comes, but he should have a big game in this one. And also James Houston, the rookie from Jackson State, who's another guy that can play with his hand in the dirt or drop back in coverage, also plays a run rather well. I expect him to be a big-time factor in a preseason setting, so I like the Lions to win this one against Indianapolis.
All right, let's go to Kansas City, where it's the Commanders and Chiefs. Ron Rivera said he'd like to play Carson Wentz the entire first half. Andy Reid said Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs starters will play the first half. KC, a 5-point favorite, totals 44. Kenny, what do you like in this spot?
Yeah, I was really surprised that no Chad Henne in this game because Mahomes will play the first half. With that, the number 1 offense in the NFL with Patrick Mahomes, the number 1 offensive line. Kansas City's defense I have ranked 18th in the NFL, so they're far better offensively. Same thing on the other side. Without Chase Young, I have Washington the 6th best defense with Young, the 13th without Young, so there is a big drop-off there. Offensively, I think they'll be fine. Wentz and Heineke and Howe and Kelly has experience. So over the 44 is the number for me. I think Patrick Mahomes could put up 21 himself in the first half.
And that's why I'm liking the back end of the game, because that means comeback Sam Howell steps in. He had a really good comeback last weekend against Carolina. So I like his progression so far this preseason. And I also am expecting to see big things from rookie tight end Amari Rodgers from Ohio. If you remember him, he was a quarterback at UNLV. I was at the East-West Shrine Bowl, and it took me about a good practice to realize, man, that's Amari Rodgers that played at UNLV. He was out there like he played tight end his entire life. So I'm excited to see him continue to progress as with Sam Howell. I do like the second half, so I like the Commanders to win this game because, again, KC will take a nosedive in the second half.
All right, Bucs and Titans. Tom Brady, he was never really expected to play in this one to begin with, but now Tampa's O-line is in triage. Todd Bowles doesn't seem to know when the GOAT's coming back. There's a conspiracy theory on Reddit that Tom Brady is actually out because he's practicing to appear in The Masked Singer on Fox. We don't need to get into that, but the Titans are 3-point favorites at home. Emory, what's the play?
Listen, I was at Titans practice on Wednesday, and I got to see Derrick Henry up close. And I tell you what, trying to tackle him is like trying to jump in front of a car that's breaking the sound barrier. That means the horn is in front of the car is in front of the horn. So by the time you hear it, it's too late to respond, and by the time it hits you, it's already going. So he is a monster out there. He won't play, but you know who will play? Kyle Phillips, a wide receiver, and that secondary of Tennessee is going to be exciting. They have Caleb Farley out there. He's healthy. He's ready to go. You also have Roger McQuarrie, whom they drafted this year. So a lot of talent, a lot of speed, a lot of explosiveness. They matched up well versus the Bucs in that practice I attended. I like the Titans to win straight up on the money line.
I wish I could have been there at the Titans practice and watching Emory trying to run around, trying to tackle Derrick Henry. Probably couldn't even get a hand on him. I think he's a little quicker than you are, too. Well, I know he's a lot quicker than I am. So I'm going to go under in this game. We know the troubles the Bucs have on offense right now with no Brady. The offensive line's banged up, but that defense is awfully good. They're one of the best defenses in the NFL. I have them the number one defense, number one against the pass. The Tennessee defense is the strength of their football team. Both coaches, I feel, are going to be very conservative. Both coaches have losing records when it comes to preseason games, which shows me they really don't care a whole lot other than evaluating talent, get in and out of there healthy, and get on to the next week. So I'm going to go under the points here in this game.
All right, in Miami, Tua is hoping to play against the Raiders. Tyreek Hill looking to make his preseason debut with the Dolphins. We could also see Derek Carr and Devontae Adams. Vegas is a 1-point favorite. Emory, do you like the team led by Mike McDaniel or Josh McDaniels?
That S is crucial, man. It is going to trip a lot of people up this year. I'm going to go Josh McDaniels with an S at the end because I like how the Raiders have handled these preseason games. They can run the football. They've shown that they can show up and stop the run when need be, but there's a big battle going on at receiver with Tyron Johnson, the outstanding player who came in from the Los Angeles Chargers, and also Isaiah Zuber, who was an outstanding talent in the USFL with the Houston Gamblers. So watching those guys compete for that final roster spot at the position will be what I'll be looking forward to seeing in this game. But I just like the way the Raiders are running the football and stopping the run. So I'm taking Las Vegas to come up rolling 7 in this one.
I like what I've seen out of the offense from Las Vegas and Josh McDaniels, what he's done, and they've opened it up. I like the rotation. We don't know sure how much we get Carr, but Stidham and Mullins are both experienced quarterbacks that can move their team down the field. On the other side, if we do get Tagovailoa, that's good. Bridgewater and him, I think, are going to be battling it out. So I like over 42 in this game. A lot of it has to do with I do have both offenses rated better than their defenses, and I think both teams have outstanding offensive lines. I have the Raiders number 7 in the NFL and the Miami Dolphins number 12.
All right, kind of a homecoming week for Marshall, Minnesota's own, and 49ers quarterback Trey Lance. He had the current high school players from his high school team bust in to check out the joint practices at Vikings training camp. Now the two teams are going to take it to US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. And Emory, the actual home team, the Vikings, they're favored by 4.5. What do you like in this one?
I love the favorite here. I'm taking Minnesota. And what I want to watch for the Vikings in this game, I thought last week they had some issues in stopping the run of Las Vegas. And they're a little bit lighter on the interior when you're talking about their linebacking core. Troy Dye, Chaz Surratt, the rookie Brian Asamoah out of Oklahoma. I want to see these guys be much better versus that San Francisco run game. We know they're going to see that inside zone, that outside zone. They're going to see some boot, some waggle. I want to see how well those guys are able to not only stop the run, but get out there and try to catch Trey Lance. So I do like the Vikings offense to carry them through this ball game, but I'll be watching that defense, those linebackers, to see how much better they're going to be this time around against the run.
Yeah, I think we're all expecting, an offensive explosion with Kevin O'Connell now as the head coach and bringing an offense in, similar to what the Rams run and getting Ted and Kubiak is out. So I like the offense. I like the San Francisco 49ers offense. I think they're going to be very dynamic as well. And again, a solid offensive line. So I thought this total was a little bit low at 39.5. I went over here.
All right, over there. Again, the over has been the trend in the preseason, as I mentioned, coming in tonight 14-4 to the over. Jacksonville, we've got the Steelers and Jaguars. Mitchell Trubisky will get reps as Pittsburgh's QB1. Most of the Jaguars starters will play the first half, including Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, and the offensive line. Jacksonville, a 2.5-point favorite. Total is 42. Kenny, who or what do you like in this game?
Again, pound for pound, Pittsburgh just has a much better roster than Jacksonville does. Doug Peterson's going to make a difference for that organization, but it's going to take some time. I took Pittsburgh here plus 2.5. Missed the 3. I just didn't get it. And I think they've disappeared now. If it does flip to 3 again, I'll probably hit it once more. The Pittsburgh Steelers' strength of this team is their defense. I think Mike Tomlin has another guy with great eye for talent, and that's why he wins football games. I like Trubisky. I like Rudolph. And Kenny Pickett looked great as a rookie stepping in. He hasn't had great practices, but he's looked good in the game. So I think that quarterback rotation definitely has an advantage over the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'll take the points.
I'm glad you guys have come to me for this particular pick because I know you guys are waiting for me to talk running backs. And they have the preseason thunder and lightning combination of Anthony McFarland and Jalen Warren, the undrafted rookie out of Oklahoma State. This was excellent to watch last weekend. I thought the Steelers' run game was a little bit pedestrian in the regular season last year. This year, they made an emphasis to not only beef up along the offensive line, but get better in the backfield. And you like what McFarland was able to do from a patient standpoint. And Warren is an explosive dynamo in the mold of Maurice Jones-Drew. So watching those two guys run last weekend, I'm excited to see what they can do for an encore. And to Kenny's point, this is a much better team overall. Quarterbacks play solid football, which is all you need if you're Mike Tomlin. But this run game was impressive. I expected that to be the case against Jacksonville.
All right, late Saturday night in L.A., Cowboys and Chargers. Big battle for QB2. In this one, right? Yep. So we're going to see a whole lot of Cooper Rush and Ben DiNucci battling for that spot behind Dak Prescott. Easton Stick and Chase Daniel, they have the opportunity for the home team. By the way, when it comes to a backup spot and a roster spot, never bet against Chase Daniel, ever. Dude's been in the
made a lot of money.
Long time. Yes, he has. Kenny, where's the opportunity for a betting win in this one?
Yeah, Chase Daniels can put some points up, but so can Cooper Rush and Greer and DiNucci, I think, for the Cowboys. I like over the total, over 38. We talked about this. The first week went over. Those numbers were a lot lower. But, again, these teams are much more prepared offensively this year than they were last year. So I would say week 2, I think we're going to see scoring go up again, hopefully not in a couple of the games that I do like over. But in this situation, I think the Cowboys' offense is better than their defense. And I have the Chargers' offense ranked 9th best in the NFL. I liked what I saw last week out of them against the Rams. And I think you're going to see the same against this Cowboy defense this weekend. So I'm over 38 here.
I love the Chargers here. I like their defensive matchup against the reserve Cowboy offense. And when you're watching those outside linebackers for Los Angeles, that's where I want to focus. You look at Chris Rumph the second-year player out of Duke. Emek Abule has been on this roster for quite some time. He's tremendous in terms of what he can do from a dual threat standpoint in terms of rushing the passer and stopping and running. Undrafted rookie Ty Shelby out of UL Monroe should get some burn as well. So I want to see how well they put pressure on those reserve Cowboy offensive tackles. That's going to be the biggest matchup, and that's the matchup I feel like the Chargers will win, and they'll ultimately win the game because they do have the better reserve quarterbacks here in Chase Daniel and also Easton Stick.
Our experts giving you 8 picks for every game of the preseason on Saturday. A jam-packed slate. Kenny White, Emory Hunt, knowledge in your mind, money in your pocket. Thank you, men.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.